I can only remember three things about 1980. Some guy named John Lennon was shot to death, and Mom took me to see The Empire Strikes Back. The mental picture of Princess Leia in the slave outfit is still stuck in my head today. The third memory was seeing Dad for the last time. This was a big deal because he had passed away the year before. The southern sunlight peeked through my window, calling me like the sound of a banjo bouncing from the East Tennessee mountaintops. Each day would bring a brand new adventure. All I had to do was experience it, soak it up, and bask in the beauty of freedom, only rewarded to a kid my age. "I love you, Mom," was the first and only recognition she received most mornings. Before she could even turn around to acknowledge me, the sound of the screen door slamming was her indication I'd be back before dark. I began my journey on a well-worn path through the woods that I'd blazed many times before. While the path was familiar, the spectacles along the way never ceased to amaze me. The curiosity of a 9-year-old is easily ignited, but I choose to believe magical moments materialize with each step I took. Several trees had been cut down the prior week and left laying in the woods. These were giant works of art, tangled and stacked and intertwining. What a wonderful fort. Maybe it was a stranded pirate ship. I could have possibly been Tarzan, swinging from limb to limb and climbing within the fallen timbers. Imagine being able to pass through a vaguely transparent, enormous hill and stopping in the middle. I can remember standing inside of the fortress of leaves and branches. Foliage cracked under my feet as I looked up into the sky. The wind whispered and gave me kisses through the mangled labyrinth as I caught subtle glimpses of passing clouds. I had probably spent more time in my imaginary castle than I'd realized. Time slipped so quickly for a child. As far as I was concerned, I was still in the early stages of my quest. So much more to explore, and the day was mine. I continued further into the woods, which eventually led me out of the woods into the river bottom. I could see my oasis shine through the last few bushes I trekked past. A beautiful, cold water spring awaited a thirsty traveler. An old tree stood beside the calm, welcome body of water. A single nail had been driven through the bark. Placed on the nail was a dented, shiny tin cup. I'd always assumed the chalice was for well-deserving adventurers like myself. I could always envision the cup giving me some sort of special powers, or the spring granting me eternal life like the fountain of youth. To this very day, I cannot think of a time I enjoyed the taste of water as much as I did from that old tin cup by the spring. Was the sun already beginning to set? Impossible. My day had just begun. Dinner time had to be hours away. I still have way too much exploring on my agenda to turn back now. Revitalized by the mysterious goblet of life, I took off in a full-fledged sprint deeper into the untapped territory. To my surprise, the sun was definitely calling it a day. This meant I was in trouble because I'd missed supper. It was time to run, unlike I had ever run before. Branches slapping me in the face, roots emerging from the ground with each stride, and rocks appearing from nowhere made my return treacherous. I was lost. There I sat, a terrified 9-year-old in the middle of the forest, all alone. I was covered from head to toe with bruises, cuts, and dirt. Tears filled my eyes and made tiny trails down my cheeks, parting the dust on my face. My head dropped toward the ground, and I wrapped my hands around the back of my neck as if to protect myself from danger. As I rocked back and forth, I noticed a small burst of light off in the distance. I forced myself to stand and used every bit of energy I had left to make my way toward the beacon. I second-guessed myself and was unsure if the sparkle had even come from in front of me. Maybe my mind was playing tricks. Then another slight twinkle caught my attention. I moved more quickly toward the illuminations. The radiant bursts were happening with more frequency, giving me a clear path. I ended up in a small opening in the woods. It was almost like someone had cleared everything away and provided me with a single stump to sit on so I could enjoy the show. Millions upon millions of fireflies surrounded me. I felt like my body was floating in outer space, brilliant neon stars echoing amid the fluorescent moonbeams shooting in each direction. The cool glow of each incandescent light calmed me as time wore on. I was no longer alone. My panic had vanished and made way for reason. The spot I'd been led to was familiar. It was time to go home. Luckily, my mother had fallen asleep on the couch watching television. She had no clue I'd been out so late. The radiant beauty of the painting my mind sketched out that night is still one of the most awe-inspiring memories I hold. The night offered me a final moment I will never forget. More importantly, I was given the chance to say goodbye to my dad.
This has been a Chris Top production.
You can either talk in the Chris Top program.